Thank you, Christy, and thank all of you for being here. This is a very important topic that we all have to focus on within our communities. And like Christy said, there's a lot of effort going on to prevent incarceration from the beginning with minor crimes, keep people out of the jail system that are involved in minor crimes, whether that be for fines or the bench warrants that we've heard about earlier today. But one of the things that has really impacted communities around the country is the fact that we have a small group of individuals, repeat offenders, that are constantly going through the criminal justice system and being released back into our communities, and in many cases, reoffend very quickly. And these are folks that are at high risk. And when I say high risk, I'm talking about robbery, aggravated assault, attempted murder, shootings, those types of crimes that are going on within our community that have significant impact, not only for the individual victim, but for the rippling effect that goes out into our communities, creating fear, impacting families, all the things that happen in terms of serious offenses. And we need to make sure that while we're looking at the pre-entry into the jail system, that we're also looking at how are we addressing these high-risk offenders. And what you'll hear from Amy today is that if you focus prevention or intervention mechanisms on the wrong group of people, you can, in fact, create more problems than you solve. What the research will tell us, though, is that if you focus on high-risk offenders, there's certain criteria, crimogenic and non-crimogenic elements that go into high-risk offenders. And if we focus on the crimogenic elements, and that's more, as you've heard earlier, than giving somebody a job, it's talking about changing the way they think, changing their environment, looking at how they interact with their social partners. Those are the types of things that we really have to make sure that we're focusing on in the high-risk reentry programs within our community. And there are a number of reentry programs in this community that are doing a good job. I know that the mayor is very involved with SC Strom. You've heard from Fresh Start today. Turning Leaf, I've had a lot of association with Turning Leaf, and I've seen the results that come out of that. And what I can tell you is this, is that no matter what you do, whether you prevent somebody from going into the jail system at the initial point of the crime, or you prevent the recidivism of high-risk offenders, if you don't allow that person, regardless of where they are in the system, to feel like that they come out of this with a sense of purpose, with a sense of well-being, with a sense of pride in what they are accomplishing, you will not be successful in your process. And what I have seen in many of these reentry programs is that you have a single focus, either on employment or on social skills or on motivation. But if you're not focusing on the things that help the person lift themselves up and have pride in what they do and earn the things that they see, when they change their thinking, you won't be as successful as possible. And what I have seen in Turning Leaf and what Amy's going to talk to you about today is that when you see an individual come out of prison and after a period of time, they go through a process, cognitive behavioral thinking, substance abuse, counseling, all the things that you've heard about today. And I would be really remiss if I didn't say that you have a wonderful team in this city, in this region, that partner together with providers, mental health, substance abuse, law enforcement. I've never seen the kind of connection and integration that you have in this area. But when you see an individual come out of prison that you've looked at their criminal history, and it's got robbery, drug abuse, aggravated assaults that go back decades. And then you see them go through a program where they are changing the way they think, where they're identifying and addressing issues with victims and understanding how their crimes impact the community and the individuals. And then you see that person go out and get a job because there's cities like the city of Charleston, North Charleston, Charleston County, and private industry that's willing to give them a chance. And they come up to you after a period of time and they say, Chief, I just went and got a debit card today. I've never had a debit card before. That's important to them. Or when they come to you and they say, hey, see my uniform? I got a job. I'm working. I'm not getting in trouble. That's important to them. And what we're going to see in a few minutes, you're going to hear from one of those individuals. And they're not given things, they're earning them. They're earning what they get from this program, and they're earning what they're getting from their employers. And what's happening is we're rebuilding lives. They're going out into the community, they're earning a living, they're contributing to their community, and their families are coming back together. And so, as we are thinking about the fact that we want to keep people out of jail for low-level crimes, do not forget that there is a percentage of criminals who commit crime after crime after crime. And if we don't focus on that small group and help them as well to change the way they think, to change the way they perform in our communities, then we're still going to have this revolving door. So I'm going to call Amy up right now, because what she's going to talk about is how her program takes individuals that are broken, that have issues, and as they go through this program and they go through different phases, they're rebuilt. Their lives are rebuilt. They re-engineer themselves. They become productive members of our community. And when I meet them and when I talk to them, I used to see them on street corners, and I used to see them coming into the back of the police station in handcuffs. Now, not all of them are 100% successful, but now I see a lot of them on the street corner because they're on their way home from work, or they're on their way to pick up their child from a daycare center, or they're working with me in a program where we're trying to divert people or deflect people from getting in crime to begin with. So Amy, come up and tell us about what you're doing with your program.